All right, Automotive Fridays. It is a rainy day. It's actually Thursday. We're recording this. So it is direct from the Cardone Group headquarters here in Central Florida. It's not live today. It is a recording of Automotive Fridays because I got to be out of town tomorrow. Happy anniversary to my wife. She won't be watching, but 19 years with my lovely bride. Today, we're going to talk about information-based selling in a big picture kind of way. We're going to talk about some of the key components of what makes us successful doing information-based selling. We're going to talk about how do we actually work with the customer consistently to get them deeper into the process. And listen, every step of the way, we have one goal. It's to get deeper into the process. That's it. Ultimately, our objective is to sell a car. How do we do that? We got to get deep into the process. That's right. We got to get through our sales process. So let's take a look at some of the most basic stuff about information-based selling. Let's take a look at what some of the key components are, and let's just kind of go through it the way that we would if we were actually in your store doing one of our four-day information-based selling launches. So we're going to take a look at some of the key components here from the mini lectures in the old information-based selling book. All right, so the greeting. Look, we've already established any sales process. I don't care who you work for. I don't care what you're selling. Any sales process can be broken down into 5 basic things. You want to greet the customer. We say do it with information. You want to build a buyer profile about it. You got to know about your customer. If you don't know about your customer, you can't sell them the next car. You need to select and demo your vehicle. You need to use that buyer profile when you do your demonstration so that you give them that double dollar demonstration. You need to present figures to 100% of your customers. Statistically, it's almost impossible to write up everybody, but that's your goal. That's what you got to be striving for, writing up every single customer. And the 5th step, we're either going to deliver that vehicle or we're going to structure it so that we can follow up with them later and we can get them back into the dealership. So with all that said, let's just jump right into the greeting, okay? We're going to take a look at the greeting. So inside of the greeting, we break it down into a couple of steps. We talk about welcoming the customer. We talk about offering information, giving the client an out, and then redirecting to the next step in the process. And again, all this is coming right out of our 10X your sales process, information-based selling 4-day launch that we do in dealerships all across the country. So welcome. What's it mean to welcome a customer? You know, I talk about this a lot with salespeople. You know what the reality is? You are awake and at the dealership more than you are awake and at home. It's crazy. I'd almost be willing to bet you that there's some of you that are awake at the dealership more than you are even at home counting all the time that you're sleeping. So when I have a customer come in, I want to welcome them warmly, right? I want to welcome them warmly because this is my house. This is where I make my living. So I want to welcome them because here's the interesting part about this. If I don't have a customer to talk to, I got to be on the phone. I got to be generating leads. I got to generate opportunities some other way, or else I'm going to be sitting in the corner smoking and joking with the rest of the guys, and that's not going to get me any income. So I'm very happy to see a customer, always. That's the reason why I'm here. So when I welcome them warmly. What does that look like? Hey, welcome to the dealership. What can I get you information on? It's that simple. We don't need to overcomplicate this. And in a lot of ways, I'm going to challenge you, don't try and overcomplicate it, because remember, what do we know about customers? They don't want to be here. They're not looking forward to coming to the dealership and seeing you. That's not why they're here. They didn't get up this morning and say, oh, let's go to the store. Let's go meet somebody. Let's go make a friend. They're like, man, we got to go to the car dealership. There was a Volkswagen commercial. Maybe it was Best Buy. Maybe the people were in a Volkswagen, but there was a couple, and they're like, no matter what he says, no matter what he offers us, we're not going to do it, right? So they go through the process, they look at the TV, and the guy goes, yeah, and we got a money-back guarantee if you find one cheaper. The guy's like, we'll take it. And the lady's like, well, what was that about? I thought we had a plan, right? So before they even come in, they've got a plan because they're afraid of what's going to happen. They want to create that space. So I want to welcome them, and I want to use a genuine greeting that makes it easy for them to come in. Welcome to the dealership. What can I get you information on today? It's just that simple, man. I'm a professional. I'm to the point, right? Welcome. What can I get you information on today? So the second part of this, I'm going to flip back to the page that I was on. I'm going to go one more page to get the right page. Is that offer information? Welcome to the dealership. What can I get you information on today? Right? When we offer that information, we're justifying ourselves as a professional, right? We're doing something that they're not usually getting when they go to other dealerships. I'm not saying, hey, anybody got you? I'll take you. What you need, right? You buying a car today? I'm just simply saying, welcome to the dealership. What can I get you information on? So I've welcomed them. I've offered them information. One of the things that we talk about psychologically is giving the buyer an out. What does that mean? It means to make the customer feel at ease about what's happening, right? So in our greeting, one of the ways that we do that is we say things like, before you leave today, right? That doesn't mean that they're not buying a car. It just means that before they leave, I'm going to do whatever the next step is. Hopefully that step will get me to the point where they buy a car, but we give them an out so that they don't feel boxed in. So, hey, welcome to the dealership. What can I get you information on today? The customer says, I'm interested in an Altima. I say, that's a great choice. We've got a great selection of Altimas. I'll help you find one that's right for you and your family. And then when you're ready, before you leave today, I'll get you the price on that Altima, get you estimates on down payment, monthly payment. I even get you figures on the car you're driving today. How's that sound, Mr. Customer? It's simple, it's direct, and it's to the point. So, welcome, offer information, give the client an out. Now, you might see this on the side, right, on the side of my page there. It's hard to see. We flowchart all this out. So when we're in and we're doing a launch, we have every process step already mapped. We have it laid out so that as you're going through this, you have the key word tracks and you have the key behaviors so that you know how to implement this and how to manage it and how to make sure that it's being done the way that you want it in your store. And that's a critical piece for process success, right? So we set that up for every single element of what we do. So welcome, offer information, give the client an out, and then ultimately we need to redirect to the next step. So a redirect is very simple. We're just confirming what we're doing and we're heading on to the next piece. So me, I want to do my qualification, my buyer profile. I want to do that around their present vehicle, right? So the simple redirect, because remember I offered them, I said, hey, look, before you leave today, I'll get you price, estimates on down payment, monthly payment, even figures in the car you're driving today. It's pretty simple, right? Sound good? Yep, that's why we're here. Fantastic. Last thing I offered them was to get them figures on their car to save us 30 minutes worth of your time. Let's go ahead and start with your present vehicle. I'll gather the information off of that. We'll drop it off with a member of our management team. They'll professionally appraise your car while we're out selecting the next one. And then we can transition right into building the buyer profile around the current vehicle. It's simple, it's very professional, and it gives the buyer some hope that they're going to save time. I was working with two of our OEM partners this week at their national field meeting. I did some breakout sessions for all their field staff, and one of the things that we were talking about was the length of time it takes to buy a car. Right now, the average transaction is over 5 hours. 5 hours. As a salesperson, I don't like that because that limits the amount of deals that I can do on a Saturday, right? If we're busy, it's going to be hard for me to deliver 3 or 4 cars on a Saturday if it takes 5 hours, okay? We need to compress the time. So when I offer to save the customer time, that's a benefit to me as well, right? So I want to be professional. I want to build that buyer profile around their present vehicle because it's going to help me. It's going to help me save that time so that I can get to the next customer after I sell this one. So let's just look at the greeting again real quick, right? Got 4 steps. I'm going to welcome the customer. Hey, welcome to the dealership. You can include your name if you want. Welcome to the dealership. My name's Derek Simons. What vehicle can I get you information on? I'm offering information, right? They're going to respond. Altima. I'm interested in an Altima. Fantastic choice. We got a great selection of Altimas. My job's simple. Help you find the one that's right for you and your family. And then when you're ready, before you leave, I'll get you the price on that Altima. I'll get you estimates on down payment, monthly payment. We'll even get you figures on the car you're driving today. How's that sound, Mr. Customer? They're going to tell you, yeah, that's great. That's why I'm here. So now the last part of that is to redirect to the next step, which is what we're trying to do with the buyer profile around the present vehicle. Fantastic. To save us 30 minutes worth of time, let's go ahead and start with your present vehicle. I'll gather all the information off of it. We'll drop that off with a member of our management team. Have your vehicle professionally appraised while you and I are out looking at the Altimas. Is this your Altima right here? And so that sets us up really well. So when you look at it from this standpoint, knowing that we've already done all the process mapping, knowing that we got the key components, you can see why this is easy for us to go in and get this set up. You know, I was talking with a dealer the other day, and he said something to me about Chick-fil-A. We got a Chick-fil-A right up the street from our office here, and I don't even know. I can't even guess how many cars they do a day. But I bet there's probably 2,000 people that go through there just at lunchtime. If you go to the drive-thru, it's a 30-minute wait anytime from 11 to 1. I mean, this place is insane. And you know what? Every single transaction starts the same way and it ends the same way, right? And they use key things like my pleasure, right? They talk to you positively about what's going on. They use positive words and phrases. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I need to make sure my laptop's not falling asleep here. All right, so when we're doing that, right, and we're using this positive language and we're being positive with the customer, we're putting ourselves in a position that we can be successful, right? This is consistent behavior. And one of the things that happens, I just said it, at Chick-fil-A is that every customer gets greeted the same way, every customer gets their order taken the same way, and they finish with a positive statement. I'm not telling you that you got to be like a person that's working at a fast food store, but what I am telling you is build consistency about the way that you approach it, and you'll be much more successful. Because if you have a consistent approach, you can be prepared for any objections that the customer might have. That's where we need to get to be professional, right? Remember, we need to plan ahead. We need to understand what's happening. Welcome, offer information, give the buyer an out, and redirect. Okay, pretty simple. So let's take a look at the next step. Let's take a look at that needs assessment. Again, needs assessment. If we're there, we're doing our 4-day launch, we're going to take you through all these drills. We're going to help you integrate this into your process. I was talking to another dealer. We were talking about their sales process. I said, well, tell me about your sales process. He said, we got 15 steps. I'm like, great, what are they? Right? And he said, well, we greet the customer. And then we qualify them. And that's about as far as we could get. So it doesn't matter how many steps you got. You're still going to do the 5 key components, okay? Doesn't matter, right? Even if you work for a dealership that says we have a 12-step program, you're always going to do the 12 steps. Great. You can still do these 5 elements that we're talking about inside of every single part of that step, okay, out of your 12-step program. So what are we doing? We need to do a needs assessment. Man, we need to learn about the customer. So the first note that we have here is talking about the difference between building a buyer profile and qualifying the customer. I still say qualify from time to time because having been in the business since 1989, qualify stuck in my head. That's not necessarily a good thing, okay? We need to build a buyer profile. We're not trying to qualify. Qualifying is about us. Qualifying is actually mislabeled and probably should be called unqualifying, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find out if we're wasting our time with a customer. Here's the reality. There ain't a whole lot of people coming into the dealership. We know this. If you've got a customer in front of you, they made the conscious decision to get up off of their sofa, come to the dealership after doing their 9 hours worth of research. That's a deal. Don't get in the way, right? Don't try and unqualify this customer. I can't even think of what the opposite of qualify is. I know it's a simple word and I just can't remember it. Don't do it, okay? Don't do it. Don't try and figure out a reason not to work with this customer. So when I talk to dealers and they talk about qualifying, they always say, well, I want to know how much the customer's paying. Okay. What are you paying today? What are they going to tell you? They're going to tell you a figure. They're going to tell you a low figure. How much money you want to put down? They're going to tell you a figure. It's going to be a low figure, probably starting with a 0 when you ask those questions. So don't ask questions that you don't want the answer to at this point in time. Let's be positive. Let's build a buyer profile that's going to help us, that's going to get the deal deeper into the process, not one that's going to cause me to not want to work with this customer, right? I can tell you so many stories about crazy things that salespeople ask customers at the point of contact that then got into their head and then they decided that this wasn't a deal. You know what happens sometimes? Sometimes we as a salesperson start to get a little uncomfortable with certain vehicles, right? So I've seen salespeople where they felt like their manager doesn't give them enough for imports at a domestic store or domestics at an import store, right? So you're selling Nissans, a guy pull up in a Ford and he's got this nice Focus, but you're like, man, the last 5 guys I worked on a Focus, we couldn't put a deal together because my used car manager's trying to steal the cars. Well, that's your story, okay? You're messing yourself up by that story you're telling. But now, when you are talking to the customer and you're like, hey, what do you owe in your Focus? And the guy goes, well, I've had it for 3 years and I just checked the payoff. It's $22,565. And you're like, oh my goodness. I'm never going to be able to put a deal together. It's a $12,000 car. That guy's 10 grand upside down. Well, 2 things to remember here. One, everybody at the dealership has sold a customer that's been ridiculously upside down. And it could be your day. There's a lot of incentives out there. There's a lot of ways to go with this. We can make those deals happen. And 2, don't let stuff negatively impact the direction you take this transaction. Don't get so wrapped around the axle about their negative equity at a point where it doesn't even matter yet. Remember, my job as a salesperson, I want the customer to want the car so bad that it doesn't even matter what the money it takes is to get this deal done. Okay? That's what I need to do. To get there, I need to ask the right questions. Okay? Don't put yourself in a position where you're blacked out because of what you know. No money down, they got negative equity. Why am I wasting my time with this deal? Well, you're wasting your time with this deal because you're only going to get 2 ups today. So take this one all the way to the finish, man. Work this deal all the way through. Don't give up. So when we talk about this, it's disqualify. I don't want to disqualify the customer. I want to build a buyer profile. I want to ask the right questions that's going to allow me to do a better job selling them the next car, and that's going to get them into the excitement of the purchase, and I have the information I need so that I can structure the negotiations properly. That's what I need to know by building my buyer profile. It's definitely a conversation, not an interrogation. I don't know, I had a coach pad around here somewhere, but it's disappeared. It's right here. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a whole thing on coach pads, right? I talked about how to use the coach pad, talked about how salespeople carry them. A lot of times they'll have them tucked into the back of their pants, right? They'll start interviewing the customer, they'll start building the buyer profile, and they'll flip it out. We are not highway troopers. We are not interrogating the customer. We're having a conversation to help them. We're having a conversation to save them 30 minutes worth of time. We're having a conversation because we are a professional and we're learning about their wants and needs for their next vehicle surrounding their present one. So it's a conversation, not an interrogation. This is critical. Don't turn it into an interrogation, right? I was watching a dealership one time, and the salesperson said to the customer, "You need to follow me inside. I have to do a guest sheet." And the guy said, "What's a guest sheet?" He goes, "I got to qualify you. Follow me." That's what he told the customer, right? There's no value in that to the customer, right? So we have to have that value. Remember, what's our redirect? Hey, I'm going to save you 30 minutes worth of time. Gather the information. I show them my coach pad. Gather the information about your present vehicle, and then I'm going to drop that off to a member of our management team. They're going to professionally appraise your car while we're out selecting the next one. Okay? So it's very simple, it's very engaging, and it allows us to start working towards the questions that we need to know, which are ultimately, the third part of this, the buying and driving habits of the customer. Okay? If you know how they bought their last car, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have a really good idea what you need to do to sell them the next car. If you know how they drive their car and what they like and don't like about their car, man, guess what? You're going to be in a great position to be able to do a very good product presentation and demo drive with the customer that's going to help you get to the next step. So when you look at this, 3 elements here. Needs assessment is a profile, not a qualification process. I don't care what they're paying. I don't care what the payoff is. I don't care how much money they have down. Not right this minute, because I'm going to get to all that when I get to the negotiation experience. My job right now, compress the time, make the customer buyer profile make sense so that I can do a great job with my product presentation. It needs to be a conversation. Okay? I really believe that you want to be in motion, right? This whole first part that we're doing, it really should not take more than 5 to 7 minutes to greet the customer, offer them information, give them an out, redirect to the present vehicle, do a buyer profile around the present vehicle, have it conversationally, don't make it an interrogation, and learn all about their buying and driving habits, right? I believe we can compress that down and do that in 5 to 7 minutes. If you can build a complete buyer profile in 5 to 7 minutes and gather it around their present vehicle, man, you've just saved yourself a ton of time. So going back to what I said earlier, I want to be in motion, right? Hey, welcome to the dealership. What can I get you information on? Fantastic choice. We got a great selection of those. My job's simple. Help you find the one that's right for you and your family. And then before you leave, we'll get you the price, estimates on down payment, monthly payment, even figures on the car that you're driving today. How does that sound, Mr. Customer? Sounds great. Fantastic. By the way, are you driving a What's It Mobile right now? You are? Well, I'll tell you what, to save you 30 minutes worth of time, what I'd like to do is go ahead and gather the information right off of your vehicle. I'll get all that information right here. We'll drop it off to a member of our management team. They'll professionally appraise it while we're out looking at the Watson Mobiles. That's going to save you 30 minutes worth of time. So is this your vehicle right here? Man, that's a fine looking Watson Mobile. And I'm going to start immediately asking them the buyer profile questions that we've developed using my coach pad while I'm walking around the car. And remember, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. Don't be negative about their car. There are things that are wrong with their car. There's a dent. The tires are bald, right? These things are happening. And you know what? The customer knows that. They know that those things are happening. So what do we need to do? We need to make sure that we're being positive. I love your car. We want your car. Got to have your car. I don't care if the car's got 265,000 miles on it and it's on its last legs. Love your car, want your car, got to have your car. We need to give them hope here. That's a critical piece. We need to give them hope. So now, I've got my coach pad and I'm walking around the vehicle and I say, hey, by the way, as I'm looking at the car, remember, as I'm looking at the car, hey, by the way, what'd you like most about your present vehicle? Oh, fantastic. What'd you like least about your present vehicle? Got it. And what's changed most in your life since your last purchase? Oh, fantastic. And ultimately, what's your next vehicle need to do that this one doesn't? Okay, got it. Fantastic. Hey, do you remember when you bought your car? Okay. And how much did you pay for it when you purchased it? Got it. Okay. And your next payment, when is that due? Okay. And by the way, how much is that payment? Oh, really? Okay. Wow. How did you get your payments so low? Okay. So what I've just done in that little demonstration, that little walkie walk that I was doing right there, was showing you just do it conversationally, right? We're not interrogating them. It's just a conversation. We need to be professional and we need to be in motion. That's one of the reasons why this works so well doing at their present vehicle. Can you ask these questions sitting down across the desk from somebody? Sure you can. But by doing it around their present vehicle, it gives the appearance that you are the professional, that you're the one that's building this stuff up so that we can get the top dollar from their manager, that you're helping them. And that's what we want to do. It makes it very non-confrontational. They're actually involved in the sale of their vehicle to the dealership. And that's a big bone of contention for a lot of customers. And I can get all the information that I need. Okay, I've covered a lot of stuff today. I was going to do one more section, but I'm already at about 22 minutes. So we're going to come back, and next week we're going to revisit the next two sections, and we're going to keep looking at it just from the standpoint of how we would approach this when we're on a launch, right? When we're in doing in-house training, we're working with a team. We want you to understand, we're going to integrate these key phrases, these actions, these process steps into what you're doing today. You know, our goal is pretty simple. We want to help you find the smallest change that's going to have the biggest impact. That's our goal. We want to help you maximize your sales volume, your profitability, your customer satisfaction, your loyalty, your repurchase intention, all of those elements. We know what it takes to be successful in today's industry, and I'm telling you, we want to help you do it. So take a look, CardoneInstitute.com. We've got another manager class coming up, I think in July, maybe the second week of July, CardoneInstitute.com, CardoneInstitute.com. The links obviously will be in all of the descriptions for this video. Also check out 10xyourprofits.com, and we are still doing the sale on the download for Grant's Automotive Closes. I think it's been flashing by up here on the screen. A lot of you guys took advantage of that last week. We'd love to keep that going for one more week. $9.97, Automotive Closes. Download it right there on our site, CardoneGroup.com, shop Grant Cardone's Automotive Closes. So it's a big deal. You're a big deal. You guys kick some butt this weekend. Let's have a fantastic last 2 weekends of the month in June, and let's be successful. So remember, welcome, offer information, give the buyer an out, make them feel comfortable, redirect to the second step, which is our needs assessment. We need to do it as a buyer profile. It's not a qualification. We need to do it conversationally, not an interrogation. And ultimately, you need to learn about the customer's buying and driving habits, because you'll be able to turn around and use that as you continue to get deeper into the process. So, CardoneInstitute.com, 10xyourprofits.com. Give us a shout out, share the video. Lindsay's still out there patrolling on social media. She's watching you guys. She's gonna send out free prizes to people that are doing it. So we appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next week.